Today we had the privilege of speaking with the iconic Susan Walsh, founder of the classification guru and fixer of dirty data.
Data problems are people problems, and most of the people that work with data are not data professionals. The data professionals know how to clean data and keep it clean. It's the non-data professionals, it's the sales and marketing teams.
Guilty. Susan is passionate about viewing data problems through a human lens and expresses her passion for making her work in the data space enjoyable and impactful.
Try everything. Like, see what area of data you like, because there's so many different areas. Test out different bits of data, what you want to do, and don't be afraid to fail.
Susan has had a remarkable journey thus far, and she's only just getting started. Susan, let's talk data.
Hi.
Hello.
I just want to eat this.
So we have so much to talk about.
I know, just for anyone listening, there's a really big microphone here, and I either want to lip sync or eat it, basically.
Oh, we're gonna talk about lip syncing. So before we get onto dirty data, actually, you are a data icon. You are an entrepreneur. You are an author. And a lip syncing queen.
Well, I try.
So your personal brand is so strong. You're a celebrity in the data world. Was that intentional?
Absolutely not.
No.
And isn't it weird that everything they tell you not to do, I've done to grow a business, and it's been successful. I don't think what I've done would work for everybody, but when I started this business, which was 7 years ago nearly, I didn't have any connections or network in the business at all. No, nobody didn't know anyone in data or procurement, and really realised pretty quickly that sending 100 messages on LinkedIn a day wasn't going to get me very far, because the kind of service that we provide is, we've got a problem, who are we going to call to solve it? Now, talking to people on a random day of a random week, you're never really going to hit someone at the right time. So yeah, I discovered that by posting interesting things on LinkedIn or things that people resonated with, it started to get attention. And then during lockdown, there was like a lip sync battle challenge, and someone said from that, oh, you were really good at that, you should do more. So I did. And then I think I'm about 3 or 4 years into like lip sync Sundays. And, I go on these really important client calls, and they introduce me to other team members, and they're like, the first thing they say is, I love your songs, I love your lip syncs. And you can't pay for that kind of recognition. No. You really can't. But you really have to not be afraid to put yourself out there.
Yeah, really brave. I feel you're authentically and apologetically yourself.
Yeah.
And it's working, and it's great, because we care far too much what other people think.
I did realise pretty quickly that if I was going to put myself out there publicly on LinkedIn, that I had to show all sides of me, because the biggest thing is credibility. And if I put it out there first, then nobody can come and challenge me and say I'm not being authentic or honest, because I'm telling you before everyone else finds out what I've done, which might be getting drunk and breaking awards or whatever. Actually, we don't even talk about the clients we work with, because we can't really talk. Nobody wants to admit they've got dirty data. And so we don't even talk about the clients really that we work with or how we've helped them that much. I should probably do more of that really, but whatever I'm doing, it's working right now.
It is working. And was it difficult for you to really push yourself out of your comfort zone? Or did that feel natural to you, just to be yourself?
No, I came from a corporate background before I did all this. I was in sales. And it was very much, I used to have my tongue pierced, I had to get a retainer for when I went into the corporate world. And, you had to wear, in my day, you still had to be suited and booted, it was really formal. And so to kind of de-corporatize myself took a long time to get out of my head that you can be normal.
Yeah.
And you can be yourself. And people will accept that,
That's such a good point. Do you know what? When I started my business, my investor said to me, Emma, why are you using these words on LinkedIn like excellence and striving and this and that? He's like, that's not you.
Yeah.
I want you to go on LinkedIn and talk like you talk to me in a conversation.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know how to do it. I got lost in the corporate world. You're so right.
Yeah.
It's a massive
and even
thing.
now on potential calls with potential clients, I will say, I'm not going to bullshit you. And I'll swear sometimes, because I'm like, this is me. This is what I'm going to be like to work with. And this is, you're going to get honesty. We're not going to pretend that we can do something we can't. We'll tell you if we can't do something. And we're not going to mess you about and charge you a fortune like the consultancies do.
Yeah. And people buy into that.
Yeah, they do. It's refreshing for them.
Yeah. So entrepreneur, your journey in that way, was that always the plan, or did you thought no,
not at all. This is my second business.
Is it?
Yeah. So I did sales, and I always thought I wanted to be a sales director, in the big FMCG companies. And at some point I realised I'm not even enjoying this. Like, at some point, sales wasn't sales anymore. It used to be about relationships and people, which is a bit I love. And it became about numbers and bending to the big retailers doing whatever they wanted. And it just wasn't really sales. And so I ended up leaving some places, and I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I thought, I just had something that said, I'm going to open a shop. So this was at a time when clothing for women in offices was starting to become more smart casual. So you could wear pretty tops, nice dresses, things like that. But it was before internet really kicked off. So there weren't many places that you could go to buy like nice tops, like something like this. It wasn't around. And I thought, right, well, I'll open a shop. I live in Guildford. It's very affluent. Lots of people will come in and buy my pretty clothes. And they did
they?
No,
oh no.
The shop didn't even last a year, and I racked up so much debt that I couldn't even afford to go bankrupt. The £600 I needed to go bankrupt, it took me 6 months to save up.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and I was looking for any job and found an ad on Gumtree, and that's how I ended up doing spend data classification, like complete fluke, chance, fate, whatever you want to call it. And that's what's led me to me sitting here talking to you today.
That's crazy. I mean, obviously a time that you probably don't want to relive, but in a way, do you think that's given you a real good start?
Yeah, I don't mind. I'm more than happy to talk about it because I learned so much from that.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be where I am now had that not happened. And I'm in a much better place now than I could have ever been if I'd still had the shop.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's... I learned so much. Definitely... Start a business with low overheads.
I mean, you seem like an optimist, but when you're at the darker times within the business, did it feel like you weren't going to get out of it, or did you know, I'll get out of this and I'll do something different? No,
there really were. I mean, there were some days I was so tired. I was doing 6-7 days in the shop. Some days I'd just not go in. And it really felt like I was so scared because it felt like it was the end, but it was such a big mess to deal with, and winding up the company, like I couldn't afford to pay anyone to do that. I had to wind up the company and do all the letters myself and deal with the suppliers, and it was such a horrible, horrible experience, but just proves that you're capable of way more than you think you are, and you can deal with a lot more than you think you can as well.
Fair play. So you didn't get any external advice at all for doing that?
I got the odd free chat, but did not pay for any services or anything like that. I had to do it all myself.
Oh my gosh, well, good for you. So then you found the ad on Gumtree.
Yeah.
And the rest is history.
Yeah. 5 years there, and then it was time to move on. And like I say, I'd fallen into that job and didn't know where I could get a job doing the same thing. So I was like, right, I'll just start another business.
Wow.
And everyone was like, no, didn't you learn? I was like, it's okay, this time it's just me. There's no overheads.
But now you've got a team behind you.
Yeah.
But you built the foundations this time.
Yeah.
So what's the name of the business?
So it's a classification guru.
Yes. Okay. And how did you come up with that term?
Because during the spend data classification process, you have to Google a lot of companies. And the number of companies that don't tell you what they do on their website is unbelievable. It's amazing. Even now I'm looking at websites, software companies in the tech space, and I can't figure out from their website what they do.
Yeah, it's such a good point.
I just want a screenshot of what their tool does, because I can't understand from the website. And so I wanted to be really clear from the start. What we do does what it says on the tin.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
We classify data, and we've expanded into cleaning and all that kind of thing. But yeah, that's the main part of our work.
So 7 years in, how's the journey been?
It gets harder every year, and I think what people don't talk about is growth is harder than setting up a business. When it was just me on my own, worrying about myself and my bills, I thought that was bad enough. But the responsibility of having to pay the bills, pay other people, when you're not getting paid on time by your suppliers, is terrifying.
I feel you. Yeah. I thought I'd be at 100 people by now and taking over the world. And I'm like, why am I not? Like, it's so difficult.
Yeah, and it's okay to change your goals as well. When I first started, all I wanted to do was what I loved and pay the bills. That was it. Didn't have any plans to have a team or anything like that. And then when I did start growing, I got to 7 at one point, and it was too much. And I was like, I don't want this many people. So I'm down to, there's 5 of us in total now. There was 8. I don't want 50 people, 100
There's an
people.
ego attached to headcount as well, isn't there? Like, sometimes people just grow for the sake of growing.
Yeah, I think also I'm a control freak, and I want to make sure the quality stays consistent and accurate. So having a small team who is trained under me, we can provide a better service that way.
Yeah.
Until I can find a way to replicate myself.
I was going to say, how'd you go on holiday?
Well, I didn't have my first holiday until last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But you had a laptop-free holiday as well recently, didn't you?
I went away for a week. I didn't take my laptop, but I did have to do work on my phone for the whole week.
Cheating.
So 7 years coming up in June in the business. I thought, I'm looking after my team. I'm looking after everyone else. I'm not really looking after myself. So I'm taking myself off to the Maldives. And that is definitely a no laptop holiday.
Yes. So
like the whole thing is shutting down. I don't want to hear from you. I'll be on a beach.
Sipping cocktails.
Yeah, at the champagne bar as well, yeah.
Yeah, amazing. It's taken you 7 years to get to that place.
Yeah, and part of it is money, financial, and part of it is scared to let go. But once you have the right team in place, it's so much easier.
Yeah, power of letting go.
Yeah.
It's important.
Yeah.
Well, letting go a little bit.
Yeah, not too much.
So in terms of your business model then, how has that evolved over the years? Like your core services that you offer?
Yeah, not too much. I mean, I would say like 80% is still spend data classification, and our client base is mainly in the procurement space. And we do fixed price projects because there's nothing worse than scope creep, which a lot of the big consultancies end up doing. So I'm like, tell me what your data is, what it looks like, and I'll give you a fixed price for this project. And that works really well for us and the clients as well.
Right, so the bigger consultancies, they just keep adding on costs. Yes, yeah,
and
I've heard that.
Yeah, and their costs are crazy.
Yeah, through the roof.
Or I often hear as well, you know, they'll bring in the big guns for the intro meetings, and then it gets handed off to the graduates.
Yes, 100%. The sales team are a dream, and then afterwards it's like, support don't even pick up the phone.
Yeah, whereas you're dealing with me. Yeah. It's my name on the door, so I'm gonna make sure you get a really good service.
Yeah.
Even though our projects tend to be like one and dones, there's the odd recurring project, but it doesn't matter because people move jobs. They've taken me with them to the next one. Now I'm starting to get referrals, which I've never had for the first 5-6 years. So yeah, it's paying off. Yeah.
Delayed gratification is what I'm told.
And yes, and also I think trust as well, because I've been around for so long now. People trust me from seeing me on LinkedIn at events, so I am, I guess, in their minds, worthy of being considered a worthy competitor to other spend analytics companies or consultancies, because I've put so much groundwork into building a really strong brand.
Yeah, you have. And also what's great about it is it's super professional, but you have so much fun.
Yeah, I can do
data between the spreadsheets.
Yeah, I can do it if I didn't have fun. Like, what would be the point? It doesn't feel like work most of the time.
Were you worried how those that terminology would go down? Or again, is that you just being yourself?
I think because I'd done that a couple of years in, if I'd come out the blocks with that, it wouldn't have worked. Mm-hmm. People know me now, and so I can get away with a lot more on LinkedIn and I did a post on Monday, do you like my jugs? And I'm holding 2 jugs. And not many people could post that and people would enjoy it. Most people would be offended, but because it's me and because they know me, they know it's coming from a place of fun and lightheartedness. So I really enjoy that because it just gets people to think about data in a different way. Let's face it, most data professionals, even procurement, they're introverted, a lot of them. So to be out there and just not be the norm, but deliver value at the same time, that's the most important thing. I don't do anything for the sake of being funny or getting noticed. I do it with a purpose to highlight a data problem or something like that.
Yeah, but just make it relatable to the masses.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people enjoy that.
And I can relate data to pretty much anything. So, no topic is off the table.
That's what the podcast is about, though, because those outside of data don't understand how much it influences their everyday life.
Well, I always say data problems are people problems. And most of the people that work with data are not data professionals. The data professionals know how to clean data and keep it clean. It's the non-data professionals. It's the sales and marketing teams. It's the finance. They're the ones that don't necessarily see the value or understand the importance of getting it right or how it impacts another department of the business. And they're the ones that we really need to catch their attention and make it a bit more fun so they do listen.
Yeah. So how do you get people to listen?
By giving them context, something that relates to them, something that's funny, something that's memorable. Not just, oh, you need to clean your data because it's bad, or, it's going to impact the processes of people aren't going to listen to that. They want to know why it's relevant to them. If it helps increase profitability in the business, which leads to them getting a bonus or a pay rise, then they're going to all be for it. That's the kind of things the way you need to talk to them.
Yeah. So you hone in on those specifics.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what kind of education do you need to give your partners then? Do they approach you or do you approach them in the first place?
I have to say, and people be probably, some people be, salespeople particularly be like, no, what are you doing? I've never done outbound sales. Everything we've had has been inbound, mainly via LinkedIn or events. I mean, we could probably get more business if we did outreach, but to be honest, I would rather people came to us when they're ready, when they have a problem and they want to listen or they've got the money to fix it, because quite often businesses won't invest in a data problem until something's gone wrong.
Yeah.
It's really hard to get money to fix things.
So firefighting in the first instance.
Yeah.
That's because you've created such an amazing personal brand though. That's why you get so much inbound.
Yeah, that's what I realised. I need to just position myself as the go-to person when they have a problem.
Yes.
And that's really I mean, it's the long game. It's taken years, but it's really starting to pay off now.
Did anyone give you kind of advice on personal branding, or is it completely all from yourself?
I kind of followed some people on LinkedIn and everything they were saying just didn't resonate with me, or it didn't apply to my business. I've done, like the action coach and business coaching and stuff, and everything in it was the complete opposite of how my business works. And so I realised that I couldn't really do any of that.
So there's a gap for that authenticity.
I just stopped listening to what everyone else was being told and tested stuff out and was okay to fail with things and just see what worked.
Yeah. Okay. So do you think failing with your business, that really put you in a good stance and position then to fail again and fail fast and learn from it?
That's how you become more successful.
Yeah.
You only learn by failing.
Yeah.
You really do. And, every day I'm failing and learning and just getting better at it.
Yeah, yeah. Were you always that brave when you were younger?
No, I don't think so. I remember being quite shy as a child.
Yeah.
And then I think as a teenager, I got pretty stubborn and headstrong. I remember in Scotland, you do your standard grades and then your higher grades. So at 16, you start your hires. And you normally stay on at school till 18 to do those. And at 15, when I was doing my standard grades, a local college came in and went, you don't have to do them here. You could do them at college. you could be independent. And I was like, yes, I want to do that. My dad's like, no way, not while you're living under this roof. And I was like, well, that's fine then. I'm just going to move out when I'm 16. And I got my way. And for me, going to college, having the independence and responsibility of my own time, all that kind of stuff, that worked perfectly for me.
So you moved out at 16?
No, I didn't have to move out, but I did move out at 18.
Yeah. And have you ever been back since?
No, not to live. They couldn't get rid of my brother till he was like 25.
Even when the business was going under, your first business, you didn't go back to?
No, I still didn't. I mean, the backup plan has always been, if it all really goes tits up, you can beep that out if you want. Back to Dundee. But yeah, I because also I knew living down south is expensive.
Yeah.
If you leave, it would be too hard to go back.
Yeah.
So, and I try not to look back.
So you're still in the same place you've been all these years?
Oh, no. I've moved. I was in one place for like 10 years. And then the last couple of years, I've had a couple of changes. But I like where I am now. But my landlord, last place I was in, the landlord, I moved in and then he was like, oh, do you want to buy the place? I'm like, no. And he's been trying to sell it ever since. So I was like, right, I'm just getting away before you sell it from under my feet.
So is your business fully remote?
Yes. So the team are UK based, but they're dotted all over the place.
Wow. And how do you find that? I just couldn't work like that.
The job I got online after the shop, that was all remote, and I managed like 14 people remotely. So I've always done that.
Pioneer. Yeah.
So it actually works really well because the people who work with me enjoy their freedom. You know, I really am like, as long as you hit the deadline, I don't mind what hours you work. You don't have to be available all the time. So it works really well.
So how do you find leadership? Was that quite organic and natural for you, or have you done a lot of learning along the way?
Well, leadership, fine. Managing, not. So I would say I'm a great leader, but a terrible manager.
How so?
I guess I don't have a lot of patience. Maybe not as understanding as I should be sometimes. When I'm focusing in on what I'm doing, I don't like distractions, and basically employees are distractions. So I like to just get, I still like to do the hands-on stuff and get down and dirty with the data and clean it up. And I just find it, there's so much distraction.
Yeah, and how do your team take that then? Are they understanding?
I have a team that
it's your way.
Yeah, so there's the rest of them, the other 4 are super mega chilled out. So we all get on perfectly.
Do you warn people when you're hiring? And not that they should be warned, but just, again, honest with them. This is how I work.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's important.
Definitely.
You don't oversell.
No, but also I apologise if I've been a bit snapped or, not being as supportive or understanding. I try to be, a really good manager, and I think my team would say that I am, but I find it really hard.
Yeah. In terms of running your own business, what do you think the hardest part of it is? And we'll come to the fun stuff after as well.
Yeah. Probably the financial uncertainty. As we're sitting here speaking, I've got 30 plus grand of late invoices waiting to be paid, and I had to rush around on my holiday and last week to get a couple of short-term loans to plug the gap, which has plugged some of it but not all of it, and I'm back down to like zero again. And that's the hardest thing, because people say, oh, well, you should plan better, you should have a buffer. But if people don't pay you on time, you never get the chance to have the buffer to build up. And if you are a one-person business, it's super easy to build that buffer. But when you've got 4 people to pay, and software licenses and insurance that cost a fortune and all the other bits that go with it, there is no buffer. You are literally month to month. And so that is probably the hardest thing. Yeah. If everyone paid on time, it would not be as much of a big deal as it is.
And this is for the big businesses.
It tends to be the bigger businesses,
It is. It's crazy.
Yeah.
You really have to like go with force, like verbal force until you get paid.
A couple of years ago, I worked with a big company in the US that's now gone bankrupt, but a media company, and they weren't paying, and they were about 60 or 90 days over, and over the 30 days that were already due. And every week it was next week, and next week just was never coming. Mm-hmm. And I thought, it's the Americans, they're not really going to, a formal letter is not really going to do much to them. They probably get them every day of the week. But what did work for me was threatening to post publicly, because being a small, diverse, female-owned business, it's not very good for them to be treating me like that. I got paid within 2 days.
Really?
Now, not everybody has a kind of following that can do that, but, you have to use the tools that you have. And, people have said to me, oh, well, don't you think that people will, other clients will judge you if you post about those people? And I thought, if they do, they're not the kind of people that I want to be working with. Yeah. I'm doing what I'm doing to survive.
Yeah, it's so true.
Yeah.
So how do you manage stress in those times then? Apart from singing?
Chocolate, cake, Prosecco.
All of the above.
Yeah, Candy Crush, actually. I've got to be honest. And murder podcasts, true crime. Yeah. Couple of hours before bed, just de-stressing, playing Candy Crush and listening to murder true crime podcasts is my de-stressing.
I love that. So that's your outlet. So
yeah.
Can you switch off in that time as well?
Yeah, completely.
Yeah, amazing. Has it always been that way? Because I feel I'm just so I dream about work constantly.
Oh no, I think it probably is there, but it's not always at the front. It could be in the subconscious. You never ever fully switch off.
No, you don't.
No, but I love it. This is what I want to do. I choose this.
I was going to say, so what's the fun part and the best part of having your own business?
I get to do things like this. I get to do events. I get to travel all over the world, speak at events. I get to work with some of the biggest branded companies in the world and really make a difference to their business. And I really love that.
Yeah. Have you always loved it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the first thing I've ever done where I was like, wow, I'm really good at this. And it's easy. It doesn't feel like work. And I've never had that in a job before, and that was my early 30s. Yeah. And then I was like, oh, that's why I hated my other stuff, because that's not what I was meant to do.
Yeah, you found your calling.
Yeah.
So in terms of businesses you've worked with, what success stories can you share?
Well, actually, something from recently last year, we did some work for a university and we reclassified all their data. And one of the analysts, something she needed to do was taking her like 12 months, and we did it for her in like a month.
Wow.
Yeah, but the best part was we reclassified their data, and in one category alone, their spend data for legal services was 40% higher than they thought it was. And we're talking millions of pounds here.
Oh my God.
So that makes a difference when they go to negotiate with their suppliers, their budgets, all that kind of stuff. And on them, you think, what are you spending so much on legal for? Or could you reduce the number of legal companies you're working with and get a better rate from the ones that you are? There's so many opportunities there. And that was just one. It was the same in facilities and all that as well.
So do you think that's really the foundation of data then, classifying it? Is that where it starts?
Well, having it classified or categorized certainly helps, but the data around that has to be clean as well. So, you need the right business names, people names, addresses, phone numbers, emails. That all needs to be right so that when you categorize it to find it, you're pulling the right information. So you can't do one without the other.
Right, okay. And then what other services? I mean, I imagine a lot of your clients at the moment are asking you about AI.
Yeah, I think, and actually in the beginning, we were judged for not using AI because we are more people-based. But as the years are going on, people are starting to understand that the capabilities of AI are only as good as the data that you put in. And to have that good quality data going in, you need to clean it. Mm-hmm. And you need people to do that on the whole because they need to verify it's correct and all that kind of stuff. So now we don't get asked about it as much. I mean, we have lost projects because they were concerned about the amount of human involvement, which concerned me because they should have been more concerned about the quality of the data rather than the level of human involvement.
Right.
But, again, probably not people that I want to really be working with if the quality of the data is not their primary objective.
100%.
Yeah.
So how do you see the business evolving in the next few years? Are you a strategist? Do you plan for the future?
So I always say I'm not. I am, but it's all up here. I don't do mood boards and wall planners and strategy. Well, we kind of do strategy for marketing, but I know where I'm going in my head, but I really do feel like if I write it down, it's set in stone. And then if it's in my head, it's fluid. I can change with, however the market changes, wherever the wind takes us. We go where the work is. Last year, there was a lot of projects on material master data cleaning for manufacturers. The start of this year, it was all about vendor master cleaning.
Right.
So it comes in waves. It's really bizarre.
So no business plan, written down business plan?
No. Budget? No. And even my accountant says, you because of your business, you can't forecast either. It's like, it's really hard to plan in this business. What I can tell you is that we're building a tool at the moment. I really hope to launch it later this year.
Fab.
Because there's only so far you can go with a service-based business, and then you need more people and it gets more expensive. With a tool, it's a product, you can get it out to the masses. So that's been in the making for like 2 years now. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Is that all coming from yourself as well?
It's all self-funded, yeah. It's all been built in-house, yeah.
Can you give us an idea of what this tool does?
No, I'm not going to tell you yet.
It's
you
a
just
secret.
Have to, yeah. Well, I mean, you can kind of guess what I do and what it might do.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh, 2 years.
Yeah.
So how did you come up with that? I mean, that's really inventing as well, isn't it? Like a physical product.
Actually, it is. And it's actually, I'm so excited because something from my head is now real. It's happening.
Yeah.
I guess it's like when I set up this business, I saw an opportunity for something that everyone needs, but nobody's doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and it's not like, I'm not reinventing the wheel here, not doing anything like new or revolutionary, but it's things that people need that they probably can't easily get right now.
Yeah. It's such a good point really with business, because often people think of an idea based on what they want to do rather than what the need is.
Yeah.
And that's where they go wrong.
Yeah.
They get it's quite simple.
Yeah.
The best ideas are always the simple ideas.
It is. And the people that have mentioned it to, like clients at the moment, have all said, I know so many people who could use this. So
that's exciting.
Yeah.
Watch this space.
Yeah, and there's so many stories around this as well. It's a trademarked name and everything, and there was like a funny story around the trademark. It was objected to by O2.
Really?
Yeah, because it's got the word guru in it.
Oh.
They were like, guru's our word.
What?
I know.
How can they have that word?
Companies like that usually go companies to pick on small businesses like mine, and I saw it in the news recently. I think Louis Vuitton or someone was trying to take this small business out because they had LV gardening or something, and they were like, no, that's our trademark.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's in the dictionary or it's in the alphabet. You can't trademark the alphabet.
I know. Well, anyway, I promised not to trademark anything else with the guru name. So
really?
Yeah, but I didn't say I wouldn't trademark anything with gurus. Now, I was very
clever.
Very, very smart about that one.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, just being a small business, there's someone there to just take you down at any minute. You've got to
there is.
Dodge.
And when did the book come into it then? When did you write the book?
It's been 2.5 years.
Has it?
Yeah.
And how's that going? How was that process?
I hated it. It was awful. I will never write another book.
Really?
It was so stressful. And I had both my wrists and splints after it. It was...
Stop.
Yeah. Because I left it all to the last minute. I wrote 40 of the 50,000 words in the last month. It was crazy. But, I knew there was a need. There wasn't anything else out there in the market. It's doing fine. I don't really... as a data person, this frustrates me, but I don't get data from my book sales until a year after the year is done.
Right.
So, for example, I don't know what I sold in 23 yet. I won't find out to the end of March.
Really?
Yeah. So, so that's a bit, as a data person, that's quite frustrating. So I can't like do stuff to because I don't know what's happening. So I just let it tick along. But it's, I saw on Amazon the other day, someone said it was a really funny and good read. So I was like, that's what it's all about.
Amazing. And what's it called?
Between the Spreadsheets, classifying and fixing dirty data.
And how did you come up with that idea?
I want it, again, it's about making a really boring topic fun and interesting. And so I really begged and fought with the publishers to have that as a title, because I was like, people will remember. Everyone I told the name to, they laughed. And that's what it's about for me.
Yeah, 100%.
There's plenty of serious books out there.
There are. Did the publishers not like it then?
I think they were just like, oh, it's a bit wild for us, but because they publish a lot of library and informational books, so it's very different to their usual kind of tone. But to be fair, they did agree, and I'm really pleased that I did it.
I think there's a pattern here. Your success really is just you doing what you want to do and not listening and taking any advice.
Yeah, totally, pretty much. Yeah,
and I can't say the way I've done things has always been the right way, and I've got some amazing advice. Do you have mentors or business coaches?
Don't have a mentor, but I do have a business coach.
Yeah, and how do you find that process?
Oh, she's like brutally honest. It's great. Yeah.
Yeah, you need that.
Yeah.
And how did you find her?
We met at a local networking event that we didn't really enjoy, and we kept in touch, and then she reached out to me like, look, you're struggling here, let me help you. And that's how it started. And that was probably 4 years ago now.
Yeah. I've got coaches. It makes you accountable, doesn't it?
No, she's not. So I'm not one of these accountability people.
Right,
I'm not good with that.
No.
Again, it's like the whole writing the stuff down. It if you tell me to come to you in a week and do that stuff, out of stubbornness, I'll just not do it. I really don't.
Okay.
Not good at being told what to do.
You're uncoachable maybe to a degree.
Yeah, a wee bit. Yeah.
So how does she help you? What aspects of the business does she help you with?
She helps reframe my mindset. Definitely my ability and self-belief. For the first couple of years, I was like, I'm not a data person. I work with procurement data. This is, why are all these data people asking me to events? I'm not. She's like, do you work with data? I was like, yeah. She's like, then you're a data person. Things like language, and just general negative thinking and those kinds of things. Yeah.
So have you found that a helpful process?
Yeah, but what I love about my coach Vicky is she knows that it's a waste of time telling me to write stuff down and make a plan. She knows that's not me. She knows the places to where to fix me and where to just leave me.
She knows what you'll listen to and not listen to.
Yeah, and to be fair, it's got me this far.
Yeah, it has. I love that.
But I do think if I did have a big company, I think I'd make a terrible CEO.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very different ways of working, isn't it? Small business to large business. It is. So in terms of the future then, how does that look in the next, say, few years? I know you don't necessarily plan, but what do you want to achieve?
The only goal that I really have is to build this tool and then sell it off. That's my goal. Yeah.
Beyond that, who knows?
Who knows, yeah.
More holidays in the Maldives.
That would be nice. Maybe pay for a date with Robbie Williams.
Oh, yes. You're a huge super fan. Oh my gosh. Maybe.
Although they do say never meet your heroes, so
you might be disappointed.
I think I might be.
Yeah, I do hear that. If you get him on a bad day when he just doesn't want to interact with anyone.
Yeah, I've seen him on Insta and stuff, and I'm like, I'm obsessed with on stage Robbie.
Right.
Not real life Robbie.
Yeah, I think you could be disappointed.
Yeah.
Maybe avoid that.
It's all right. I'll go and see him in July at Hyde Park, and that'll be my fix for the year.
We're going to move on to a data lightning quick fire round.
Ooh.
So what's one common misconception about data that you'd like to debunk?
That it doesn't matter if you don't clean it.
Like it. Name a book, event or podcast that you think every data enthusiast should explore.
I do enjoy Big Data London in September.
Yeah,
it's normally a really great event for everyone to come together, just meet up, it's like one big social gathering.
Yeah, they're amazing, aren't they? How many go to Big Data London?
Last year it was like 15,000. I think there was like 12 or 11,000 on the first day.
Yeah.
It was massive last year. It was the biggest year. I've done it for about 4 years, I think.
Wow. Okay. I've been to Women in Data event. That was amazing.
I did that last year, actually. That was amazing.
Yeah, it was. Just females together. I like that
It's
part.
different. I had to speak at 2 different events on the same day. So one was Women in Data and the other was, it was Big Data and AI World. And the contrast between the 2 events was unbelievable.
Really?
People just wouldn't speak to you at Big Data. Everyone's like head down, you know, not talking to anyone. But Women in Data, women love to chat.
Yeah,
like that is our natural thing. So you'll just say, hi, how's your day going? You having a nice event? People will chat gladly.
I think we're lonely in the workplace though, often, aren't we? I think that's maybe why.
Well, definitely within the data space. Yeah. I mean, as a woman in data, in procurement and in business, you're always like the minority in a room.
100%. That's what I got out of it. Like, leadership, it can be a lonely place, and sales as well. So I was just like, oh my God, loads of females in one room. Let's talk.
Yeah.
I loved it. Right, next one. If you could offer one piece of advice to someone just starting the journey into the world of data, what would that be?
Try everything. Like, see what area of data you like, because there's so many different areas. Test out different bits of data, what you want to do, and don't be afraid to fail.
Yeah, that's a good one. Finish this sentence. Data is the key to
everything.
That's a popular answer. I like that one. In your opinion, what will be the most significant development in the world of data in the next 5 years?
I would like to think it's actually the realization that none of this works without the foundation of clean data, because we're still not there yet.
No, we're not. It doesn't, I think maybe the word cleaning, it's not as sexy as some of the other words.
Yeah. Fixing dirty data sounds better.
It does.
It's like, I guess, VAT returns and stuff. It's not sexy, but it has to be done.
Yeah.
Data's a bit like that.
So it'll become the normal.
I hope so.
Yeah.
It's definitely, I'm seeing a shift, a big shift. You know, we've probably put out more proposals for work in the last 8 weeks, 6 weeks than most of last year, which is huge.
Wow.
There's definitely a shift.
Love to hear it.
Yeah.
Long may it continue.
Exactly.
Well, thank you.
Thanks so much for having me.
You're welcome. And more tonight as well at the event. Thank you very much.